brief introduction about when PitchBooks was started. We started this in 2014, especially for startups at that point in time, because we saw a gap in the market where they were unable to pitch to investors. They were lost in terms of how to create certain collaterals. So we are here since so many years, working across the globe and across sectors to help these startups, SMEs, MSMEs create pitch decks, create financial models, create investor presentations, corporate presentations, etc. Not just creating these collaterals in the right manner for various investors, be it venture capitals, be it private equities, angel investors, all sorts of investors. But we also guide them as to what is needed in their story and what exactly is needed to pitch to the investors to get the right kind of funds. So that's our forte. We've also been working with a lot of other companies for M&A transactions, small firm based out of Mumbai, but we are pretty much focused on these areas, of supporting companies.
Great. And I know about your passion to help, entrepreneurs get on the right track with respect to investments. We have spoken about it multiple times. So I'm just going to quickly jump into the first question, which is what kind of, exciting startups, what kind of exciting companies, innovative companies that you have worked with, guided them to their rightful path of raising investment? What stories do you have? What kind of advices did you give them?
Well, Teresa, I think I've been very fortunate to, work with very different, innovative, exciting companies over a period of time, so that we also don't lose that boredom. So, yes, I would love to talk about such amazing companies which have been, now well funded by good investors. So I'll talk about some of them which I thought are really innovative. Back in those days when we started, we came across a company which was, a footwear brand. And so footwear brand that was offering a lot of comfort, style, long lasting. But the uniqueness was that it was for helping prevent and manage foot problems. So through smart technology, like 3D images, AI, ML, the app and the scanning images of different foot that they were able to do, they were able to customize the footwear for be it diabetes patients, be it ortho patients. So because their R&D was very extensive for acupressure based soles, shock absorbers, focus on arch type of shape, angles, all those kind of things help them make their product very strong. So we helped them create a pitch deck which was very powerful in terms of the storytelling, and they were able to raise funds, in fact, from SoftBank, which is a very good thing. So that was one of the companies we helped. We worked with another company where they make water from air. So they manufacture cost-effective atmospheric water generators, and which can purify drinking water, right from taking it from the air in terms of the humidity. So that was a very patented technology with a four-step filtration. Again, we helped them create a backdrop to see what are the problems existing in the market and how this particular company is solving such a big, massive problem of water shortage, which is, which everybody knows, right? So that was another unique product that I got to see. One more company that I would like to speak about is, it was a full stack provider of food. Uh, they had a very, goal oriented product and service, which was for health. So it was like a cloud kitchen concept, but specifically for health conscious, on the go working people. So they had an app which gave multiple choice of tasty, healthy food, right for losing fat, keto, muscle gain, staying fit, etc. at a very nominal subscription. And they also had in-house clinical nutritionists. So it was a combination of various things. It was not just that they were offering these meals; they were offering the right diet, and at the same time, at people who are, especially women, who didn't have time to create, go home and cook. and they would, land up buying something online through Swiggy or Zomato, which is junk, or, even if they wanted to eat healthy. So this company, which was again based out of Mumbai, raised good amount of funds for the entire package of, a solution that they were providing. So again, that was a unique concept that we saw, because it's, Teresa, it's not only about the product. Sometimes it's how you package it and what other services you offer that also matters. And one other company that I really, would love to talk about is a sustainable packaging company, and they are now in the market for their eco-friendly packaging products. So we are all aware of, the fact that a lot of plastic was being used by all these food companies for packaging, food deliveries, cloud kitchen companies, etc. So this particular company came up with an idea of making the wood cutlery, like the wooden plates, wooden spoons, etc., from a very durable raw material. It's called birch wood, which nobody else was using in the market. So the founder has built a world-class manufacturing facility with robust supply chain, and is now providing to so many brands in the food industry. And it gives me great pleasure to talk about this, because it's taking into the concept of ESG, environmental, climatic impact investing, things that investors want to invest in. So I think apart from a lot of AI, ML, those things are of course the norm and talk about what goes on. But these are the companies which I thought are good, sustainable companies that I came with.
Thank you, Urvisha. But I think my biggest takeaway over here is that if you can have a very creative or innovative product that is solving a real problem, but having to get your stories, having to get your pitch properly in place is still required. It's still very, very crucial to raise funds. So you can be doing
Absolutely.
great revenues, you can have the most innovative product, but if you don't have your story and your pitch in place, then your success rate for raising funds may not be that effective. Great.
Very
So,
true.
on that note about creating good stories and creating the right pitch, what common challenges do you see with respect to startup founders when they initiate the process of raising funds?
Okay. Good question, Frida, because I tell you, most first time founders are in a hurry to get funds, because either they feel they have a great idea, and the concept will work, and maybe because there was also a fad, being backed by venture capitals, the fad of huge valuations, uh, the hype, of maybe Shark Tank and all those things. So what happens is the first time founders want to jump to be a part of this bandwagon without having a proper long term strategy and a sustainable one. And that's when they are unable to get access to funds. That's when all the challenges start, coming. So there are multiple reasons that I would want to talk about, why this can be an issue and what are the challenges these first time founders are facing. Is one is that they don't do enough research, deep dive into what is available in the market currently, whether there is market acceptability, whether there will be market acceptability for their product, whether the target customer really needs their product, or they're just wanting to push their product just because it is unique or different. They are not aware of the competitors. Let's say if there's fierce competitive landscape, of competitors, with a lot of competition, investors will not be interested to invest. So somewhere there's a gap in the way founders perceive their own company, product, or services, and how the investors view. So that's one reason, of lacking that sort of knowledge. Second is that, let's say if their product and service is very good, they are unable to tell a compelling story to the investors, for funding. 90% of the people who come to us are either young entrepreneurs who may have developed something different, in their college, university, etc., or corporate position holders who are now looking to quit their firm and start something on their own because of various other benefits and flexibilities of being an entrepreneur. Now, these people are not able to put their vision on paper. So, inexperience with pitching and negotiating, uncertain about valuations too. All these are some of the things that first time investors, founders face as challenges. Third is that looking for funds at the time which is still not ripe for you. So they're looking for funds when the product is just at a concept stage, at a beta testing phase. Investors today are looking to see if they are able to generate revenues first, or at least have some paid customers, because they aren't ready to put in something where there's no market validation. So that's another thing, and that's the reason they start knocking doors in the wrong place. So you cannot go to VCs directly or angel networks directly. First, maybe you can go to accelerators, you can go to incubators, or maybe HNI. In your initial days when you have limited resources, we understand that those are the challenges you may face to maybe grow your product to that level. But all these other incubators, accelerators are there, which they were not there in the initial days. Even grants today, government is supporting big time, for women entrepreneurs or these early stage startups. So, knocking the wrong doors is again the reason where you are facing, those kind of challenges. A lot of manufacturing companies now are wanting to raise funds. So, rather than going for equity, they need to go for debt. That's what we tell them, that you can't go to an equity investor because they are not interested in, the working capital kind of provisions of funding. So these are some of the challenges that initial founders are facing when they go to seek funds.
Right. And I also feel that when entrepreneurs really start out with raising their funds, they just do not have this kind of insight towards, how they should start. It's just like, okay, I need to raise funds, let's get started. Yeah. So this deep diving into or deep thinking into what the organization is all about, where they are, what are the investors looking for, and even this basic insight that investors are not really interested in investing in capital, which is intensive of our day to day operations, but they are invested in the growth of the company in the sense that the scale or the revenues that are coming in. So I think this puts a lot of things in perspective with respect to how you're going to get started with your fundraising journey, or what you should like have in front of you with respect to making the first step, or even making the before even making the pitch deck. Okay, so
Correct.
let's move on to the next question. You have an extensive experience of creating pitch decks for different kinds of sectors and different kinds of companies. So can you point out what are the key elements that any company founder or anybody who's creating a pitch deck should keep in mind or should incorporate in their pitch deck while working on their collateral?
Okay. Uh, I think this question, I'm sure most people might be interested because it's relatable to them. So, well, so in our experience of so many years of creating pitch decks, there's one thing that we've always made sure that we cover. No matter what, and that is how well we are telling the story. So, a compelling story. Other things, of course, I will talk about all the other elements that naturally go in every pitch deck and that everybody is aware. But when it comes to creating the story, you will never see that our decks have standard headlines, like the problem, the solution, the market opportunity. You will never see these kind of words. Yes, of course, these concepts are definitely covered in our slides and our pitch deck, but our headers are a one liner or a two liner, which goes in a continuous story to keep investors engaged. In the earlier days, the problem, the solution, those kind of one headlines were working because there were very few startups. Investors were also limited. This is again, I talk universally and globally, Riza, not just India or any specific countries. You talk about Silicon Valley or any country where where all these startups were funded Airbnb, Uber, etc. So for them, that was yes, plain simple that would work. Today, investors get hundreds of decks, right? And to view so many of them, there has to be something catchy for them. So our job is to make sure that we are creating a good backdrop about what the company is, the sector they are into, the kind of growth opportunity, scalability, all those things, and not just putting them in the typical word text thing, but with right visuals. And when I talk about right visuals, I don't mean just taking any infographics, any graphics, icons, and just for the heck of it, putting it out there. No, when we are trying to tell a story, we make sure that the visuals are also backing that data in the right manner. So that's where our forte comes, because today, even when you see many other big firms or boutique investment banks, they are able to do research, they are able to give information and data, but when it comes to putting it in visual format, they lack that. That's where we come into the picture. Because it's a combination of both the skills that we have. So that storytelling is very important. Second, having a very clear value proposition. Now we don't generally beat around the bush by talking about what the value proposition is. Very clear as to what your product is, why is it unique, and what is valuable that you are providing, be it a product or a service. Third is when we talk about the market opportunity, investors really want to see that how you are demonstrating the growing market, the size of the market, because eventually the sector and the space that you are in, it's all going to be backed by this market growth, right? So that's a very very important element to be added in the pitch deck. Another is traction and milestone. Now, key indicators to investors about the progress made or being made by any firm so far in terms of achievement, in terms of customers, partnerships. It could be any of those smallest of things that the company would have sort of moved ahead with. So again, this is a very very important aspect, because today if you don't show this to the investor, investors are really not interested, right? um, Another aspect is the business model. Now, how you plan to monetize the model, and not just that, how do you plan to scale your business? So scalability is one of the most important elements. So if you are able to convince this part of your business to investors, then there's definitely interest from investors to know at least more about the company. So that's another aspect. And I would talk about, maybe last two more points. One is, of course, the team, which I don't think anybody can miss out on, where you need to explain to any investor the experience that you are getting into the firm, the skills that you have, the ability and the drive to make the company big, not just workable with the product and services, but grow massively big. That resilience has to be there in the team. So that's important. And lastly, key financials and metrics. Of course, we tell all the first time founders also that you all need to show some kind of financial projections, because it's just not for the investors. It acts like a blueprint for your own self and your own company, that you know that what the business will eventually look like in terms of the numbers, and when will you break even on or when will you start generating those kind of 2x 3x numbers which investors may want to see. So these are some of the very very important elements that we make sure that is definitely covered in the pitch deck.
Right. So what I am hearing, Urvisha, is that you need to put out what is there for the investor. Like, how would the investor benefit by showing the traction, the scalability, and also your business model or the value proposition. So like the important thing is to showcase that yes, there is potential in the organization to grow and make money for the investor, but say it in a way that is engaging using storytelling and not go back to the traditional methods of having it like in titles that are now sort of redundant because now everybody knows this is what the pitch deck is all about. So I think this is a
Correct.
brilliant insight because we see a lot of pitch decks and a lot of them are using the traditional way of representing their business. And I 100% agree with you that this is a blueprint for the organization. The more they would think through all these aspects, the better it is for their organizations or their companies' growth. So, brilliant advice again. Thank you so much. And I think I'm just going to vary, like ask a question which is sort of a corollary to this question. So, the one of the questions that we get is how big or how long the pitch deck has to be there. So, is there a guideline that says ki don't make it super long or don't make it super short, or is there a way you can help say that this is a good number of slides to work with to present to to the investor?
Well, that is a very valid point, Rita, because a lot of companies who come to us, they also say, that, oh, we want to make sure we cover all the aspects, all the points in our pitch deck, don't want to miss out on anything. So there is a very, we always say that you have to see what your product is and what your service is, right? It has to be customized for a particular company. If they want to show their idea, showcase what their traction is, etc., in probably 12 to 15 slides, I would say that's enough. That's more than enough to tell that investor what you are doing. um, Compared to that, if there's another company which is into more technical aspects, or some different niche sector where normal layman investors may not understand, then maybe there might be few appendix slides where you need to explain few things, just so that later on they want to refer, the investors want to refer to some concepts they don't understand. So it really depends on what your product and services. But yes, you just have to make sure that these few key elements that I mentioned earlier, you are covering those aspects. Then if you are able to say that in one line or in one page, that is up to you, right? How well you are able to talk about it to a simple layman person also, that's more than enough. So we never really, tell upfront to any of our clients whether we will be making a 15 slide deck or a 25 slide deck. We say as the story evolves and what we feel is missing or we feel is not very important, we will come to know only at that point in time, because we also have to brainstorm and come to a particular thing. So we want to make sure that the investors don't get bored. At the same time, they get the right piece of information.
Great. So there is no general guideline, but it like using the slides to convey a story and to keep it interesting for for the investors is the key to making a good pitch deck. Okay. So before I move to the next question, I just want to do a quick call to everybody who's in the audiences. If you have any burning questions, then do put it on the comment section and we'll take them first. Otherwise, I have so many questions to ask Urvisha that the time is going to fall short. But we are very happy to take questions from the audiences as well. So do drop your questions in the comment section. And if you are a little late to this party and would want to get the questions answered a little bit later, feel free to comment again and we'll get back to you after the LinkedIn Live is over. Yeah. Okay. So, Urvisha, I'll move on to the next question, which is, as you said, that entrepreneurs, when are in a hurry, they are like, let's start raising funds and let's do it tomorrow. But networking plays a huge role when it comes to raising funds. Also, a lot of people are like, where will we find these investors? So, can you give us a little bit insight on how crucial networking is? How should people do it? What they should not do according to your experiences or advices that you give to other founders?
Right. Um, well, while it has become extremely essential to network, because that's how you get to know about a lot of current market trends. When you network and you connect, you can get access to not just investors but even business partners, clients, vendors, other supporting groups which can be very helpful to grow your business. For example, you have your digital marketing agencies out there who can help you, support you, technological uh, technology development people who can maybe improvise your product. So networking earlier was very different. I would say about 6 7 years back, or maybe even pre-COVID and then post-COVID, a lot of things have changed. But uh, events have increased a lot over a period of time. So events for accelerators, incubators, family offices, various types of VCs, not just from across India, but even across countries, because emerging markets, developing nations, investors there are ready to fund. So if you don't network today, how will the world know about your products, what you are doing? How will they know about your services? Because unless and until you talk to a lot of people there physically when you go to these events, um, it's hard to create awareness for so many new products and services that keep entering the market today. So when you go on a one-on-one, meeting basis, intending to raise funds becomes a lot more easier, because you know that there are investors out there who are also looking for good opportunities to invest in. And for all you know, you may even, because there are a lot of pitching sessions today, it can help you get confidence. You will know more as to what are the questions being asked by investors. You can keep improvising your pitch deck, your other collaterals, um, and then eventually, then maybe get the funds, even if it takes a big journey or a process. But by the time you reach there, you would have gone through so many things, right? Because when you take inputs from a lot of people who you meet, that's when you realize what others are thinking and incorporate all those things. So again, across India, there are a lot of networking sessions happening, and earlier people were not aware, but today, because of digital marketing, social media, everything, there are lots of events happening. So you can take the, that opportunity and that, I would say, that leap of going out there and talking to people and just get a market feel. And you never know, if you get a chance to get invited for even one meeting, then that's the game changer for you. So yes, networking is very important. That's when Frieza, how the Silicon Valley started, right? I mean, a few people would meet maybe in cafeterias or whatever, and now, because there are huge events being held, it's so much more easier compared to what it was earlier.
Right. So networking is super crucial, not just for raising investment, but also to getting access to investors, getting your foot in the door with respect to even presenting your pitch decks. Also, it's a very good way of getting inputs for refining your pitch deck and understanding what's really happening in the market. So super crucial for entrepreneurs. All the entrepreneurs who are listening, start networking now if you want to raise funds in future. I think we have one question from Rajiv. He's asking how to showcase your product in a crisp manner. So I am assuming that he might be referring to different features that he would want to communicate to the investor, and many elements that goes into making the product or the functioning of the product. So how do you like concise all that information into say one slide and talk to the communicate to the investor of all the different things that is happening with the products?
Um, well, in that case, I would say that the best way to explain anybody for a product is by showing a demo. Now, the demo can be in the form of a video, whatever product is. It's an app or a web portal or an application software. So, demo is the best way to show the features of the product. Second is showing use cases. So, who maybe where has it been used, which industry or sector, which company has used it, and how easy it has become for that particular company, that case, to use your product compared to maybe not having that product. So the problems that company would have faced earlier, and how easy or smooth it is now after using your product or solution. So
Like a
if it is
case
too
study, you
technical,
mean to say?
right, case
Yeah.
study, right?
Okay.
Because that's how a use case can help.
Right. So I think that sort of clarifies because generally founders or entrepreneurs are so interested in communicating so much, and investors don't have the time. So making a case study or recording a demonstration or showing like picture step one, step two, step three would simplify things for it. So thanks, Urvisha, for that tip. And I think we're almost coming to an end. If there are more questions, please leave them in the comment section and we'll get them answered a little bit later. But Urvisha, on closing note, I wanted to ask you what is that one crucial key piece of advice that you would want to give to all entrepreneurs that generally you may not get a chance, or you wish that, oh, please, guys, just know this that you would like to tell everyone right now on this public platform?
Okay, if I had to just say it in maybe, a very brief one or two liners, it would be get your story and the vision right for your firm to pitch to investors, to get the funds. Focus on sustainable and impactful venture to generate a positive response.
Wow, that was a pretty loaded one. The most difficult thing I think to do for an entrepreneur who is doing the product and wanting to communicate so much is to like crystallize everything in one story format and translate it into a beautiful visual slide. But super crucial. So I guess all of you're hearing us live and in future who will be hearing us later, do take this advice because as Urvisha said, investors gets hundreds of pitch decks, and if you have to stand out and make yourself scene, you need to have a compelling story with the right visuals and with the right information in your deck. And I think with this, we are sort of wrapping up this startup dialogue episode 5 with Urvisha. I think this has been such a brilliant conversation. Every second of it was, filled with key takeaways. So I'm not sure how we are going to like summarize it for a social media post. But it was really amazing, Urvisha, for sharing your knowledge so generously with everyone. And thank you again for making time for this conversation. I know how your schedule is always very busy, and you're always available for late night conversation for with respect to work. But this was really fun, and thank you again.